All right, what's going on, guys? My name is Zach, and I want to share with you step by step exactly how this client is generating $43,833 per month using email marketing. So this is going to work for whether you're Shopify, WooCommerce, Magento, any sort of e-commerce store. I'm going to share with you the exact flows, campaigns, and pop-ups that we set up that you can see here is generating over 33% of their entire store's revenue is coming from email marketing. So that's our benchmark. That's exactly what we want to hit. And I'm going to share all these different flows, how we structure it, how we structure campaigns, and every single detail that's involved in that process. So you can see here, we made an extra 43K per month compared to not having any sort of email marketing running. And where they were starting at, they had some basics. I'll talk about their exact situation, but we took them from 16 grand a month up to 43 grand per month in email revenue. And you can see here their total revenue went from 95K up to 108K. So a lot of times e-commerce brand owners ask me, if I set all this stuff up, is email marketing actually going to increase my revenue? Is it actually going to increase this top line revenue? And the answer is absolutely yes. This is from August 1st. You're comparing August to August. So we're looking at the exact same month before and after our email marketing. And so you can see we have a lot more going on. We have a lot of flows set up that I'm going to get into, but you can clearly see the revenue difference between these 2 months. So I'm going to go into overall how the business was before and after, the flows before and after, campaigns, as well as pop-ups. And then I'm also going to get into some of explain the copy and design and how we differentiate things, how flow structures, how these differentiated before versus after, and then like things that they didn't have before, campaign calendars, etc. So we're going to get into the deliverables here. So before working with us, this client, they were only bringing in about 17% of their overall revenue coming from email marketing. The benchmark that we shoot for is 33%. So we're aiming for at least 33% of overall revenue coming from email marketing. And again, going from 17 to 33%, that's usually going to increase your top line revenue with the strategies that we put in place, just overall increasing retention and increasing those marketing efforts. You can see it goes from 95 to 128. They're only bringing in about 16K per month from Klaviyo, again, with that 95K per month total revenue. So they had very little strategy in place. They're dealing a lot with other areas in the business. They're not email experts. Overall, the marketing manager just wasn't an email marketing expert, and you can't expect them to be an expert in every single little area. So they had very little strategy, and they specifically just wanted someone who knows email marketing, can do it really well at a very high level, and just has that strategy already ready to go. All they need to do is approve some designs, and they needed someone who could really take care of the overall email marketing. They had some previous poor experiences with other agencies. Klaviyo just didn't really work for them, and they were very skeptical. Their types of products didn't necessarily do well with email marketing when they worked with other agencies. They had some issues with reporting and just client communication, and designs weren't that great. And so they overall were skeptical coming on, I'll be honest. Overall, Klaviyo and email marketing wasn't a very profitable channel. Email and SMS wasn't a big revenue driver for them, and it was taking up a bunch of their time. Overall, we increased their revenue from that 17% up to 34%, even exceeding our 33% benchmark. Now they're generating 43K per month from Klaviyo with total revenue increasing proportionally. They're crushing it. They're going to have a great Q4, Black Friday, Cyber Monday coming up here. It's going to be a lot higher than 43K per month. Honestly, it's been continually trending upwards. The thing is, though, this wasn't just an overnight thing. It did take 1 to 2 months for us to build everything out, optimize it, test, and really iterate on that data. So I'm not going to sell you on this whole like overnight success, not like we did it in 3 days. So it was a gradual process. It did take 1 or 2 months for us to really dial everything in, but you can see throughout the months, it's a steady staircase up in terms of revenue. Comprehensive strategy. We really handled every single email and SMS marketing aspect as much as we could put on our plates and take off of theirs. We did. So that allowed them to focus on their core business. They could review our designs. Maybe took 45 minutes or so during the week to just review the content calendar, review the sales that we had running, review the designs and copy and things like that, make a few tweaks here and there. But overall, took a lot off their plate. We've honestly been going for over a year at this point and really just showing them the power of email marketing. Email has become essentially their most profitable channel, getting a 7x ROI on the very low end, with some months seeing significantly higher returns. So that was overall before versus after. Now looking at their flows. When they started off, welcome series just had 3 emails in it. That's it. Usually we like to expand to 7 or 8. So in this case, the welcome series had just 3 emails. They didn't have any split testing. They were not optimizing their email flows over time. They weren't adding in best performing evergreen campaigns at the end. The flow filters were not ideal. They had some tweaks here and there that were just making it not a great flow setup, and they're actually missing a lot of different people. There were some settings in there that caused a lot of people to get skipped, and just like these small tweaks that an expert would know about, that is the difference in email marketing. It's 1,000 tiny little things, tiny little settings that all come together that get great results, as well as optimizing over time. That's the biggest thing that I would say on that. Plain text emails, they weren't doing any of those, and we wanted to absolutely incorporate those into their flow strategy with the welcome series. And with the SMS welcome flow, honestly, they had none of this in place. They didn't have any sort of SMS in place. And usually the SMS welcome flow is going to be that number 1, 2, or number 3 best performing flow within their account. So we definitely want to add that in. They had a little bit of SMS, but really no strategy at all. Again, they wanted us to take over that strategy. Next, in terms of abandonment flows, we always incorporate 4 different ones. They had no site abandonment. They did not have a checkout and cart abandonment. They just had one of those. Just 2 to 4 emails in each of these flows. No split testing, no optimization over time, not answering any FAQs or handling objections within those flows. They were basic templates. They were okay. They just really didn't go above and beyond. The copy wasn't amazing. The design was okay, but it wasn't amazing. It wasn't 10 out of 10. And they were just offering the discount to everyone, which erodes your margins. It means that first, second, third, fourth, fifth, everyone gets a discount. And so they might as well just reduce the price of their products. If you're going to give a 15% discount for everyone, what's the point? So we definitely don't want to do that. We want to incorporate other flows like the site abandonment and looking at both triggers, both the checkout and cart added cart trigger and checkout started trigger. So you want to have abandonment flows for both. That's a huge win. And we want to increase the length of the flows. And in terms of post-purchase flows, some of the main ones here, we didn't see any sort of upsell or cross-sell strategy, no segmentation. We didn't look at any sort of purchase history. Again, short flows, a pretty common thing here. No flows weren't very long, and they also didn't do anything really with VIPs. There wasn't a great program in place for those higher level customers that are purchasing a lot with you. And so what we did here with the welcome series is we expanded it to 7 strategically crafted emails. We actually are gonna be adding another one in there, just split testing that. But we implemented A/B testing for continuous improvement. We're regularly looking at the flows, looking at how the data is, reducing those unsubscribe rates and bounce rates and things like that, while simultaneously looking at click rates and open rates and placed order rates and seeing how can we regularly improve these flows on a monthly basis. That's super important. A lot of times email marketing agencies, they just send 8, 12, 16 campaigns per month, and they don't touch the flows at all. They just let them run, which is okay. But especially if you're trying to scale to 7 figures per month, you can't just be like letting those loose and not touching them for months on end. So super important that we're regularly optimizing things. We added top performing evergreen campaigns at the end for increased engagement. We also looked at the flow filters. We wanted to upgrade those, incorporated plain text emails. We added an SMS welcome flow, added additional revenue streams, which is excellent, as you can see there. And then abandoned checkout, cart, browse, site abandonment. We wanted to add SMS into the flows that it made sense for. So checkout, cart, browse, abandonment. Implemented the site abandonment flow Usually we're sitting at anywhere between 6 to 10 emails and SMS messages within each of these flows. So we have a lot more touch points and a lot more opportunities to make revenue with these flows and just continuously be in front of your target audience in a way that makes sense and it isn't overdoing it, but you don't want to leave revenue on the table. Again, we continuously A/B tested things, optimized it, add FAQ answers and objections, and we wanted to be a lot smarter with our discounting strategy. So we only sent discounts to zero-time purchasers. That way, we're not eroding our margins. And so you can see here an outline of what we set up right there. And in terms of post-purchase, we wanted to add in upsells immediately as well as after they've received their product. We want to look at what products actually make sense, what in that life cycle, what makes sense in terms of that next step with the brand. Cross-sell products, we want to look at, again, what they bought versus what they could potentially add in to their basket. And then also we're segmenting customers by purchase history. We want to make things super personalized, as well as we built out their VIP program to really look at the top customers and give them some benefits that are specific to them and just keep them around as a super loyal subscriber and customer of the brand. That was the flows here. And then in terms of campaigns, before they had no targeted strategy. They used the entire list. They're sending to everyone. It was resulting in poor deliverability and overall just not very personalized messaging. They have all this great data, but they're not actually using it. No upsells, no segmentation. Again, very poor deliverability. Emails were not really optimized for dark mode. Not really ever using any sort of plain text emails. SMS, just no strategy there. Campaigns were just whenever the marketing manager felt like it, they would send out a campaign. So there wasn't any sort of calendar. We weren't planning ahead, and it was just a mess, especially if you have multiple channels. If you have social media, if you have Instagram going, if you have all these other promotions on different platforms and across your website, you need a single source of truth. And so this is how we help them in just creating a campaign calendar for them that was great for email, but they could also use it to plan ahead on all these other channels. They weren't experts. Again, it was just that marketing manager and a few other people handling things and very unclear in terms of the sales strategy. So they weren't sure how often to follow up, how to structure and segment out these sales so that you're not just bombarding people who already purchased or who aren't interested in that sale, but also letting everyone know at the start. So you need to have a really good strategy there, as well as hyping up the sale. You need to know when to send out those messages, get the list going, get them really excited for that sale without just sending it too far in advance where people just don't want to make a purchase because they're waiting for that sale. So you have to find a balance between that within your campaigns. So what we did was we implemented a very targeted strategy where we usually send to engaged subscribers. We want to look at engagement history and only send to those people who are engaged instead of the entire list. We looked at upsells and cross-sells, specifically sending emails to certain segments. So if someone bought product X, we want to show product A, B, and C. That would be a great fit, and talk about why that would be the next step and why, if they haven't purchased it, they absolutely need to. We also looked at segmentation. Again, very personalized messaging overall. We optimized for deliverability. I have a whole other YouTube video going into 20 minutes of detail on how to maximize your inbox placement and get into the primary tab. We wanted to optimize for dark mode, incorporate plain text emails, add in SMS campaigns, and really have a great strategy there. Added in that campaign calendar, which I'll show you in a second at the end of this video, exactly what that looks like. So you can just screenshot it and use it as a template. But what we did was we want to have consistent messaging as well. We want to set a calendar and not just randomly email people. We looked at a couple different ways of doing that. And usually it's going to be like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or a Tuesday, Thursday schedule, but people can now expect those emails in their inbox, and it just consistently puts you in front of your customers. Expert management, of course. Myself, my account manager, my designers, my copywriters, they're there to just be a team of experts for that client. We had a very clear sales strategy, structured follow-ups. We've done this with literally 15 plus brands at this point, and we just know what works and what doesn't in terms of sales and follow-ups. We just have a good eye for the metrics and what they're telling us. Deliverability is huge, added that in there. And segmentation, we want to maximize profit without just burning out your list. Campaign strategy, that was that. And then pop-ups. So they were dealing with low conversion rates. So pop-ups converting at less than 2%, that's a massive. There wasn't an SMS follow-up, so they weren't asking for SMS hardly ever in any of their pop-ups at all. And it just led to very low SMS list growth. They weren't doing any split testing. They weren't consistently optimizing. They weren't looking at mobile versus desktop. And they weren't doing any sort of SMS retargeting pop-ups. Again, also with the design here, it was okay. It looked nice, but it didn't really convert well. And that's the issue, is that you need to find that balance of looking nice, but also converting well. And they just really were more on the design side there. They had one pop-up applied to everything, mobile and desktop. In the end, we ended up with 4 different pop-ups. So we have regular site pop-up for mobile and desktop, and then we have retargeting for mobile and desktop. So we took it from 1 to 4, increased their conversion rate. Now it's sitting anywhere between 5 to 8 or 9%. Implemented SMS within there in the actual follow-up. So you ask for email first and then SMS. We're regularly split testing, looking at different offers, looking at how we can continuously improve this over time. As I said up here, we have one that's specifically optimized for mobile and one that's specifically optimized for desktop. We streamlined the design, took out the unnecessary parts, and made it so super simple and clear what the actual pop-up is trying to get you to do. A lot of times there's extra copy, there's extra buttons, there's extra images, and our pop-ups are super simple. Like, we keep it as basic as possible, and we want to, for example, look at the buttons. We want to match the button color of the yes button to something that they're going to want to click. And the no button, you want to use color theory and make that no button, you want it to essentially be like the same color as the background, so that it's not as like immediately obvious. So if you have a black button for yes, you would have a white button for no, so you can still obviously see the white button. It's outlined in black, but you want them to click the yes button. So just small little changes like that is conversion rate optimization on your pop-up. And so if you want someone to click a button, make it dark and make it stand out against, make a black button that stands out against the white background. So things like that are just tiny little tweaks that we implement as part of our standard operating procedures that we always want to include. And things like that is how we take it from like 1.5 up to 5%. And that's going to massively increase the number of people on your email list, which if you nail your pop-ups, the rest of everything else is going to have massive downstream effects. The more people on your list, the more people that receive campaigns, the more people that receive flows, and the more revenue you're going to get overall. So pop-ups are super important. Okay, so overall, that's where they were before working with us. Here's specifically how we helped, and a few quick notes that I want to share. So I'm going to go in reverse order here, but our campaign calendar, this is one of the massive things. I want to show you just what the actual deliverables looked like and why it's so powerful. The reason is we really planned it out. So this is an example in October. And so we're going in here and this is a different client, but I'm still showing you the overall structure here. But we want to have the date. We want to have the name of the campaign. We want to have a description ahead of time. We also want to know, is there an offer? So we can look at the offer column and make sure we're not over discounting. We're looking at the segment, and so we're being smart about it. And we're looking at, should we send to the entire list for this one? Should we just send to a certain segment? Should we send to people who have purchased this product? Or what makes sense? We're going to look at the goal of the email too. Make sure that we're not doing too much education and not enough sales, or too much sales and not enough education. So that's why we have that column there. And then we also need to know the products that are in this campaign. That way we know what we're promoting. We're not over promoting one certain product or whatever it is. And also, if products go out of stock, we can clearly just look on this column here and see what's in stock and what's out of stock. So that's how we structure it. But overall, the biggest thing is that we nail this down ahead of time and get it approved by the client ahead of time or else it's just a massive hodgepodge. You're trying to send out an email for a day later or same day. That's an absolute nightmare. We're usually at the end of this, we're scheduled 1 to 2 months out in advance with our clients. And then in terms of flow structure, so going back to flows here, usually what brands come to us with is flows that look like this. They're okay. They get the job done. They have some sort of conditional split here, but there's no rhyme or reason. They honestly didn't really have a full strategy in place. It's not very well built out, and they're not doing any sort of split testing. You can see here, there's a lot of issues with this. I won't go into everything here, but sometimes triggers are messed up. Sometimes they're not thinking through the time delays. And you can see here, we have 1 SMS and 2 abandoned cart emails, which again, it gets the job done. They're using basic templates. It doesn't really move the needle. They're not in that like top 1% of abandoned cart flows. They're not going to really crush it. And this is not what is going to get you to 7 figures per month and beyond. Instead, what we did to prepare them for more traffic and to really maximize the number of carts that are recovered, this is more of what we need. So you can see here, it's the exact same flow. It's the abandoned checkout. This is what we built. So we're first looking at SMS. So we're splitting them up into people who can receive SMS because we obviously want to focus on SMS. This does really, really well with if a person has signed up. So we're conditionally splitting on the left side here. And then on the right side over here is people who are just signed up for email. And then within the SMS or the email split, we want to look at split testing 2 different time delays. So we're consistently swapping in and out these time delays to see during certain time periods, like which is actually doing better, 30 minutes versus 1 hour or 30 minutes versus 1 hour. So for example, that's just the structure that we have. That's the very first message within this flow. So we're incorporating SMS, we're incorporating email. We have multiple different split tests running, as well as this is our conditional split for placed order greater than 0 over all time. This means that we're looking at 0-time purchasers versus multi-time purchasers over here. And this is super important that you can see on the right here. We're giving discounts only to people who have never placed an order before, and we're not eroding margins. So that's literally the entire difference between both of these flows. And again, small things like this. We found out that 6 p.m. is the best time to send an email for this particular brand. So that's why we're sending an email, this one right here, at 6 p.m. So just again, small little tweaks that you wouldn't think about that are just going to marginally lead up to massive improvements in revenue within the account. And then last up here, email copy and design. Strategy is great. It's great to understand the fundamentals and technicals and really dial those in. However, if you don't have beautiful, high converting email designs, what's the point? If people actually see the emails and they look not great, everything else goes out the window. I'm showing you just here a few examples of brands that we've done where we took their original email and we upgraded it. So I'm not going to go into every single detail here, but you can see this email right here. It's not too bad. It's not like the worst thing in the world. However, there's just a lot of HTML text in here that's going to hurt deliverability, and we want to take out the nav bar. We want to upgrade this and just make it look like a 10 out of 10 $1 million a day brand. We want to make it look amazing because again, these are flows that are going to be in your account for hopefully 1, 2, 3+ years in advance. And so I can show you some of the things that we did, but we made the discount code super big. We want to upgrade the copy, make the buttons a little bit more standing out, make the design super clean and simple, especially if people are on mobile, making the text a little bit larger to, again, optimize for mobile, super important, especially for a brand like this. And then we can use Klaviyo here to make some recommendations on products and stuff like that. So looks like that text got a little bit messed up there, but either way, we want to upgrade the design of the email as much as possible. Again, another example here. Again, what they have on the left here is okay. It's just a kind of a basic template, but you can clearly see if you're on your phone and you're far away, which can you read a little bit better? Is it going to be the left one or the right one? In this case, like the button almost even doesn't even stand out against the background. And so here we added in improved colors. You can see here's what the email looks like in the end compared to the original. Same one with this one. This one's a pretty easy example to see. Which would you rather purchase, from the left-hand side or from the right-hand side, where this is the email? Yeah, you can see here differences between the two, and even big brands like this, they can still do really well. They could send out an email with nothing in it and just an image and a shop now button, and it would probably do okay, but you can take a big brand and you can just upgrade it even further with emails like this right there. So overall, we want to upgrade the flows, campaigns, and sign-up forms. Biggest three things. If you are running a brand and you want to do something similar like this, where you want to take your revenue, you want to increase it by 30 grand a month plus just by setting everything up, go to zhs-ecom.com. That's zhs-ecom.com right there. Book a call, speak to me. We'll help you add at least 10 to 35% to your email and SMS revenue within the next 90 days. So click this button right there, hop on a call with me, and let's talk about, for free, how you can build a game plan and how you can implement all these flows, campaigns, and pop-ups to really drive more revenue to your brand and just make more money from email marketing. It's such a great channel. Email and SMS brings in a ton of revenue for these brands when they do it. So appreciate your time and looking forward to that call.